would certainly be a very quick loss for them, going straight into the losers bracket after an 0-3 for Talon if they don't quite make this work. I'm expecting probably this is T1W on attack.
Probably scouting as well, just a hunch. We'll know for certain in a moment. Not about the scouting, about whether it's T1W. It's actually Talon, so there you go. And T1W on the defense is going to be running Sombra Goats.
Well, there's going to be Sombra on both sides. I expect if it's Sombra, Apudo's probably playing it. Well, both teams are going to be running that. No bunkers yet. Nothing too whack. It's just going to be a straight mirror composition from both.
So T1W on the defense, looking to kickstart that ultimate game. They just want to stay ahead of Talon as long as possible.
Ooh, it's a big boop off.
Yeah, that's decent. Can they isolate and kill Meja? No, not quite. So Talon just trying to make the moves, get set up.
This is a long rotation, and we got to say, look, we said Talon weren't doing very much setups for the attack so far. They finally are going to try and do that, and straight away you see T1W just knock them back on the floor.
Yeah, and suddenly all that time is all but wasted. I mean, ultimate charge notwithstanding, but speaking of, Talon aren't exactly ahead in any department.
Well, this is the kind of rotation you do expect most teams to take. The left side a little bit weird, going up the stairs on the right side a little bit more standard, and that's what Talon are doing.
Taking a lot of damage as they do so, though. In is the only person actually keeping pace and keeping ahead of his counterpart. They're just going to make the move onto the point now, try and force T1W down.
And honestly, Silver's got a lot of ult charging here. Muse is very far behind. Great hack onto In, and maybe go time for T1W.
Everyone's just biding their time here, but that favors T1W because it's Talon who are against the clock as they're trying to maybe finish charging some of these ultimates.
See Milan run nearly onto the EMP, so is Apudo. A couple of first ultimates being displayed. One tick's already gone, though. T1W actually got to do something here.
Yeah, Meja got pretty low for a little while there as well and didn't really have good line of sight to some of his members. Shatter out straight into Muse's shield, gets nothing done. Hyvie as well, picked off around the side, so Talon just pressed the go button now. T1W, they finally decided to commit, but dare I say, he botched it, and Talon going to ring out the gong as they cap the point.
You look at that, it's one attempt, and it's slow and steady wins the range. They get themselves onto the point, and they say, wow, kind of just got in here quite easily, and for T1W, it's a little too slow. Didn't quite even begin the race, and straight onto B point. EMP available now for both sides. In and CQB about to have those support ultimates. It's all lights on for Talon.
It could be a huge snowball for them. That's an early grab that forces out some defensive ultimates, and there goes the EMP from Apudo. Well, Adran can throw in a counter EMP, and there it goes. Muse's going to be the first casualty of the fight, and Talon didn't actually get anything done with all those ultimates they committed. Again, they sort of tried to get a bit clever. It felt like they were going to bait out this and then commit that. Ultimately, it does not pay off.
And that should have been a much better fight for Talon Esports because they had a decent connection. Milan wasn't included into the EMP. He had the counter EMP play. And for Talon Esports, they still had everything else. Reminder, they came in with all 6 ultimates. They even had the Transcendence being used. CQB couldn't quite get the sound barrier in there. Muse went down super quickly. If they kept him alive, maybe with the extra support ultimate, maybe they keep on fighting there. The Graviton Surge not quite doing enough for the squad. And for T1W, they were kind of in tatters. They just didn't have much to work with, and they still won.
I mean, this is after Talon just tried to play to their beats for the first point, and it worked. Why try get too clever? Just play a bit more standard, take it easy, relax, and take your time. Hack on Meja now. That could be the go button for them. At least they get some ground, but very quick counterattack from T1W. Talon have been eating so much damage as they rotate that it's so easy for T1W to clean up these kills.
Don't really have to use much in the ult department either. Rally's going to go out for T1W, but still get to keep themselves a grab. Still get to keep themselves the EMP incoming as well. And you see for Talon, well, this attempt, they really should have been able to bait up just a little bit more, maybe really kind of pressure that point to get that first tick as well. They've held on to everything. T1W's held on to everything, basically. And what that just means is, well, Talon lose the time, and T1W, they gain the time.
And that's the thing. I mean, 4 minutes, still plenty to work with here, but they have also ground to a halt. Early grab out from Meja. Haven't found anyone just yet, but that's a cancelled sound barrier from CQB. So, a little bit rough for Talon. They finally got some ults out from T1W, but still committed one of their own. It's still an even trade, indeed favorable for T1W.
You look at the positioning too. T1W straight out rotates Talon. Apudo's on the lower ground. He's looking for a hack target and then saying, okay, maybe we then push on to this. Guess what? T1W's already pushed onto your team. Meja drops a Graviton Surge. Apudo's on the point, basically so far away from the rest of the team. He can't really do much from there, and Talon Esports just completely full.
Talon are finally coming up on the rest of their ultimate suite here, though. Only difference is going to be CQB lacking a sound barrier, where Illusion might get one. Yeah, unlucky to say the least. So, Talon, see if they can get anything done with this next round of ults.
And I feel like they need a little bit of luck here because they haven't gotten too much done on B so far, and T1W are doing a lot. Looking at Milan run for EMP, also looking at Apudo. Ooh, didn't quite get the hacks.
Yeah, got hacked out, unfortunately. So, Agora, or rather not hacked out, he got out. And the grab, that's what we should talk about. It didn't really get much done aside from forcing an ultimate out of Rhea. Here goes Milan though. Gets a good connection and a shatter down onto Agora. It's not ideal though, and Talon have stayed alive thanks to NN. So now it's T1W a little bit on the back foot rather, as Talon, plenty of ultimates, 2 ticks now.
This is what they need because they have the EMP as well. Now that's 2 members caught illusion with the counter.
Yeah, it is nicely timed, but it doesn't quite save Mija. Now as it runs out, Talon is still very healthy. What they're lacking though is ultimates. T1W, if they can hold on for another rotation of ultimates, could start to push Talon back. Talon, on the other hand, need to keep ahead in these kills, in these trades.
Now look at T1W, they could be losing members pretty soon. It's fairly even now, 6 on 6.
Muse.
Who's going to be the first one down?
Muse is super low. It's going to be Muse indeed. Bashful gets his ultimate right as he gets taken out as well. And finally, T1W holding on just long enough to get those kills through. Didn't even have to wait for an ultimate rotation when all was said and done.
To be fair, this was a very successful push from Talon Esports, all things considered. They were able to survive a huge play from T1W just off the back of 1 Transcendence. They had the decent counterplays in there as well. The EMP connects onto 2, not quite ideal. Sound barrier used by Illusion, and T1W basically can survive that off the sound barrier alone, and we're at a point where 2 ticks are done off 1 push. Talon can now just look for that last tick.
And they've nearly got both their support ultimates available as well. There's an early grab out from Mija, and that is good timing. That's before those ultimates are available. So this is a, oh, hold on, Gagora's getting a grab. They're getting kills though, but Gagora down. I mean, Talon were already on the back foot. They had to get a lot of kills in that grab for it to be worth it. I think that was a bit of a missed call, to be honest.
And I think you would make that call if CQB had the sound barrier available as well, because with 4v6 in that sort of situation, you say, grab, okay, we got 2 picks, that's now 4v4, kind of worth it. To then stay in the fight and make sure you don't get cleaned up by counter ults from the side of T1W, CQB then uses sound barrier, maybe you stay in, a Puda uses something like an EMP, and you can win. But for Talon, we've seen now time and time again, as they are maybe trying to back out or should be backing out, they're dropping an ultimate in there, and it's costing them a fight.
What that could have been is them walking away, having got Mija's grab out. Oh dear, Apudo stunned up.
Speaking
Talon
of
have
walking
to
away,
wait. They have to just back out of here. Instead, what they've got now is a situation where they're not even ahead in ultimates. They gave T1W extra charge, and now they're giving them extra time.
They're going to be relying on outplays here. If Apudo can pick up Milan run again, as he has done on King's Row, if he can get something, if anyone on Talon can get something, Bash will maybe sleep somebody. They got to get a pick. They got to get a 65, because ultimate-wise, it's looking pretty even. Talon maybe slightly ahead.
And they also don't have time, which means they have to just barrel onto the point very early. Transcendence is
that lands.
Good. Shattered though. Nice Transcendence from Weir, but not enough to save Silver. EMP on the backside, answered by the sound barrier. So Talon, they've kind of steered clear of the worst of it. Now they start to put on the paint themselves, fighting Milanran. EMP out on these last few members. Sound barrier's there from Illusion, but it's not really going to get many members, unfortunately. There's only 3 benefiting from it, and they're all going to fall down pretty quick. Smart shatter from Silver. Only going to find a Pudo, and that is not enough on Edzo. Gagora, an extra grab just for style points. So Talon will eventually get that cap.
And it took them so long, over 4 minutes overall to get to B, but partway through that, when you get to the 2-minute time bank, you're thinking, are they going to get this at all? They actually finished with 0.2 seconds, just barely off the overtime here. And Talon Esports scraping their way into that time bank, and we're going to swap sides to see if T1W can do a better job. But for Talon, this is starting to look a little bit hopeful.
That could be super important. That means that no matter what, they do at least get themselves a time bank if T1W cap. Whether they cap with 5 seconds or 5 minutes, Talon will still get another shot. So, again, I say down but not out. T1W, though, still firmly ahead. If they can set a strong offense here, then Talon will have a lot to answer for.
And I think you got to look at the A point as well, because that was where Talon got a lot of the early time. And yes, they did take a long time making all those rotations, but they technically didn't lose a fight there. They went around different parts of the map. Okay, this didn't work. This didn't quite work out either. Which will work? They actually just went around the right side, hopped on top of the point, pressured the point out in terms of objective, and T1W just kind of not home. They're just thinking, okay, well, are we going to fight this or not? They kind of walked away, battered and bruised, and that's how Talon were able to get that initial snowball. And I still do have to also address that initial snowball. 6 ultimates, not even a tick, no fight wins. In fact, they were winning fights way towards the end on far less of an advantage than what they walked in with.
Talon are running so hot and cold on the execution in these fights. And when they're hot, they look phenomenal. They're getting 2 ticks where it feels like they should have got none. They're out-executing T1W, running circles around them. And then there's the Colds, where they've got those bizarre exit ultimates. They're coming in with big advantages and throwing them right away. T1W are happy to take advantage of it.
Tell you what, I call it heat transfer, because when one team's cold, the other one's certainly looking quite hot. And for T1W, they're seeing the bunker, just straight onto the Genji. We already thought this was probably going to be the response from T1W if they see the same composition from Talon again. But I do also have to say, this comp on the defense works way better from Horizon than it does on King's Row.
Yeah, it's very different. It's much easier to get that extra spam damage in, get more mileage out of Bashful, much harder to run loops around them. So, T1W, let's see how they choose to address this. A lot of damage out early, but everyone getting topped off, but the Silver 3 might be in a bit of a tight position here.
Super good opening by Rene from NN77 as well, just keeping everyone alive, and now so looking for position, looking for kills.
Silver just spends a bit too long out in the cold, will eventually succumb to the frostbite there, and T1W now, having set themselves up for a wraparound and a flank, are actually just split.
But I actually think T1W have good position because they have access to the point now, and Talon have given up their initial high ground. They're fighting back for it now, and they're getting the picks to support it.
Yeah, and this is where that splitting apart, the Dynamite's just so super clean on Weir, but this is where keeping T1W split can still benefit Talon. They do find some kills.
And I think this is where if T1W also pressured the point as they were taking the high ground, Talon would have been splitting their focus. That would have been hard for the defense to deal with, because Talon Esports are able to still find picks, really focus down a target, then get themselves back on the higher ground. They're able to continue holding without giving up any point control. No ticks taken. T1W looking for something.
Slightly
that's huge,
yeah,
by the way.
Really big. Apudo down. That's a little rough, but they do find Milan around. There we go. Muse is down. CQB's going to have to commit a res somewhere, but that's only if he stays alive. Has to commit a Valkyrie. Good pressure from High B to keep those supports way back, and Bashful down, close as he was to a Riptide. Gagora not even going to self-destruct here. He does know better. He knows that this is all but done with all those other members dead. So, similar time taken to cap point A, you have to say, but Talon will probably have to change some compositions here.
What an opening for T1W as well. They're going to take this one a lot easier than you'd consider. Talon Esports, it was a decent hold to start with, but T1W just break that door right open. I do want to say, Ultimate's coming online big time for Talon Esports, means they can keep the bunker going at least for now. It will still be hard for T1W to go in. EMP is ready. If Milanrod is not spotted, he can get in the middle of that and EMP the whole lot.
Talon probably also just want to use ultimates for this one fight, then change off. Bob's going to come out early, sit on the point, not really do much at all, and Bashful down to sleep now. But he did have this Riptide running. Can he get anyone? No, he gets shot out. There, yeah, Sleepy Bob, like you say. So Talon getting nothing from those ultimates. Now the EMP, T1W, they're going to absolutely punish the lack of a swap here with those ultimates, not getting the mileage they need. Apudo's trying to claw it back though, so the DPSs might just keep Talon in this. Indeed, with Silver looking a little lonely on the points right now. This is a really tight one. It's not even just one tick finally coming through now for T1W, but it's looking like the scales have tipped in Talon's favor.
And this is where the respawn advantage really counts, and this is where Apudo is able to get a couple of picks in there. He gets most of the kills, in fact. Bob doesn't really do much there. You see the self-destruct immediately fly in from T1W. Hybe lobs it into the background. Apudo has to run back into spawn. And you also have a case where for Talon Esports, unfortunately, most of their other ultimates also do not connect. Supercharger barely saw that, didn't quite do anything. Tai you saw got completely annihilated. Talon are very lucky to have actually won that.
At this point as well, they swap on to the Goats again, but they're going to keep the Ashe in here. They've got the ultimate available, and it's got good pick potential, you've got to say. So, again, aggressive moves here, nano boost onto Muse. They nearly found some picks. This wastes a bit of T1W's time, but doesn't actually get any kills.
Just making sure that they're keeping Mija in check, who does have the Dragon Blade available. Turn into a nano.
Nice stun, but they don't quite get the kill. Muse finally goes down. Now Bashful as well. Apudo's got a lot to answer for if he's going to rescue this one, because Mija's putting on a master class there. That's going to be a cap out for T1W with spades of time left.
And China's going to feel good about this one. It's about 4 minutes versus 0.2 seconds. And the local crowd, they know who they're cheering for this one, and it's just going, unfortunately, still for Talon, so one-sided against them. You kind of feel like, okay, it's hopeful now. They completed the map. They looked okay completing the map. B wasn't super good. A was, you know, slow, but they got there. You look on the side of T1W, slow start for them as well. Lost a couple of fights, lost that first one, then barreled their way through to A. B, it kind of felt like, despite not really getting it in the initial attempt, they still came on super strong for attempt number 2, and they did not let the the foot off the gas pedal this time around and able to cap through so successfully.
I mean, again, the Talon running hot and cold here. I've got to go back to that, right? There was some points in that defense, especially that first fight on point B, that was starting to look like an absolute disaster, but suddenly they start running hot. Apudo puts on the carry pants, and they're still in it, but these guys have got to stop adjusting the thermostat.
The problem is, I think if you're Talon Esports and you're giving opportunities for T1W to play DPS compositions, you are allowing them to play their best hits here. If you're going to go bunker, you know they're going to respond with probably dive or other DPSs. There's even a chance you see something like a pharmacy out there again, probably not versus Ash, Apudo's Ash, but the possibility is certainly within the wheelhouse, and once you allow T1W to get into those kind of picks, well, those are their best picks. You're actually playing a comp that is kind of, you know, allowing that composition to come through.
Mija's going, well, if I've got to play Genji, I'm okay with that. So, Talon now, 1 minute for this first one, and they're going to spend a little bit of time scouting here as well.
And I think this is the kind of composition you want to go up against. You want to see T1W back on Sombra and Goats, but you don't want to see Muse going down super early like that.
That was just a scout as well. Milanrun had a brilliant read on that, to know that he was scouting and know that he was vulnerable. He just wanted to get in and out, and that meant he wasn't playing cautiously.
So a little bit of a hurdle to get over, but still 30-ish seconds remaining. Talon Esports can still really make it work here. Bashful even going to be bringing out his own Genji. It's going to be a ton of DPS, so this could be Talon's last opportunity in this match.
So much ult charge for Milanrun though, because he got that early kill. He is absolutely stripping past everybody else in terms of ult charge. So that could be the X factor here. Talon really need to get some headway before that EMP becomes available.
And this is a two-pronged attack as well. Look at the point. One tick's actually already gone, and T1W splitting their focus. They need to find out, do we deal with the pharmacy? Do we look at the point?
This could be the opening here if they can land the shots. Milanrun goes down. That's so critical. I said they needed a pick before the EMP came through. You pick the man who could have the EMP. That's even better. They're starting to get the kills to secure the point. They do lose a few, but staying ahead in trades, Talon are going to secure this opening point by the looks of things. Just need to finish off Silver here. Now they're going to have to barrel onto point B, maybe get some progress.
And also it's a really good read by Talon Esports by looking at the composition on the other side, saying, okay, it's Sombra Goats again. It's even the Ryan version. Guess what? We can play our own pharmacy. We can do that. You know we've played this, and it's going to get them past A. The bigger problem now is, how do you get onto B? Because we don't want to be in a tie scenario. We want to be in a winning scenario if you are Talon.
A tie does at least keep them in the series, but yes, if you have the chance to win, you want to take it. You want to start the reverse sweep now. Good hack, finding in as well, just on the edge of it is so huge.
Wow.
An easy clean up for T1W. Talon not going to be able to commit a single one of the few ultimates that they'd started to bank up, with the exception of Apudo's EMP that gets them absolutely nowhere in the fight. Cute pulse bomb, but no dice. T1W going to hold.
That's going to be it. 0%, not a single tick, which means for Talon, they basically have to complete a hold onto A, or they will be looking at a draw scenario at best. They have to get a lot done on that first point, and T1W can feel a lot more confident about how this time back is going.
T1W, on the other hand, only needing to get a third on B, something they didn't really struggle with that much on their initial offense. So you got to say, it's Talon who need to step up here. T1W, they'll be more than happy to stay in that winner's bracket for the time being. They do not want to risk sudden death just yet.
And I think for Talon as well, they knew that going into B was going to be quite difficult. The composition that they were originally running to take down A, it's a decent counter to what was being run on the defense. However, not something you can transition very cleanly with those types of ultimates to get a B take as well. They would have been happy with one tick, and I think for them, going for the objective of, okay, taking some percentage points onto B allows us to actually play for this on the defense to avoid a draw scenario. That would have been the goal, because knowing changing off the pharmacy, changing off those picks and giving up the ultimates also would not have netted in too much advantage going into B. So kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And also that EMP that they were able to avoid on point A by getting the pick on Milanrun. Look, here's the thing. If you do something like that, all you really do is kick the can a little bit further down the road, right? You've still got to deal with the EMP at some point, and it was the EMP that was so massive, shut down so much of Talon's potential on point B.
Yeah, and very important members going down there as well, and this could be possibly the last part of the time back. Not expecting T1W to really lose this one. The possibility exists, but it's existed for 2 maps in a row, and Talon, they haven't been able to do it so far, and they really have to tighten their grip if they want to try and win this.
Yes, and welcome to Pacific Showdown Radio, where we play all your greatest hits of T1W. Meech is back on the Doomfist. You know what that means.
Apudo means it's going to go hunting for him. He really wants to find that hack, and Muse finds the counterpart trade.
That's very impactful. It does mean Mija doesn't have that same line of safety to fall back to if things get hairy, so he's going to have to stick back with the team, and T1W getting forced back to spawn.
And let's be honest, Talon Esports on these neutrals for this 8-point defense are pretty good. They've been able to win these a couple times now. T1W a little bit slow to start, but they're looking for the opening in the armor to crack open and completely kick down the door for A. And once they've done that, it's basically home free. So T1W got to find their opening pick. Meej's probably the key player to do that with.
Looking to try and get him in, enable him a bit. Doesn't quite find anything on the first one, but Talon do take
so many low members.
Keeps going in. If Meej keeps the pressure up like that, eventually something's got to give. But now, Talon haven't quite lost anyone.
And the high ground opening up is absolutely huge for a Sombra Doom composition. It allows both their DPS players to now find so many more angles. Talon already on the back foot, already have to fall back to the point itself, and T1W can now start pressuring the cap.
EMP available for Milanran as well means Apudo's just barely ahead in that ult charge, doesn't profit much, but can get a counter EMP, does find it, but far too late to save those two main tanks, so Talon absolutely and utterly bleeding from the mouth on this one. Apudo gets one counter trade bit. I mean, that's cute, right? Talon gonna fall apart pretty quickly on that point.
And this is why Weir's adaptation and basically pick onto the Ana here is so impactful, because you have a case with Talon Esports, okay, they're in trouble, they use the Transcendence out from Immin to try and protect them. Guess what? Bionade comes through, you're gonna lose those members, you're gonna lose that fight. Talon now absolutely on their last legs. This is draw scenario. If they are able to hold for all of the 3 minutes and 23 seconds, they can draw this out and we go to another map. Otherwise, T1W gonna clean this out 3-0.
And it starts with this first fight where T1W are going to have 5 ultimates available, far more than what Talon can bring to bear. Double grabs now, no one dead just yet. Misha finally down though. That's a good opening for Talon, and that was all on the back of a great biotic grenade from in. So T1W slowly but surely getting forced back on this one. Might not lose anyone else though, which would be pretty great.
And we talk about the flex support, real pop-off moments, how they can really affect this game. It's not just a double bionade from in, he also then got to sleep down onto Silver as well.
Yeah.
So landing every single skill shot, enabling his team up against a squad that has far more ultimates. This is how Talon need to be playing if they actually want to win.
Musa's sitting pretty, waiting for a good shatter. Does have that one available. T1W are taking their time here, so they have lost a minute of what they had coming into this.
Kudo is just going to take this 1v1 versus Meej, and that's actually really big for Meej to get him off.
Just buffeting him about. EMP not available for Kudo, and that's probably going to be it indeed. Just very slick and clean execution. They finally start to kick in the door, or should I say punch in the door with Meej, dislodging Apudo, and it all falls apart from there. T1W going to win the first matchup here of Pacific Showdown.
And it's T1W, the one winner. That's exactly what they're going to get, the one win right now in this opening matchup. 3-0. Clean as you like it, and it got cleaner as we got deeper into the series. Again, some questions being raised on Oasis, map number 1. Some more questions still on Kings Row, maybe a few less. By the time you actually get to Horizon Lunar Colony, you're starting to think, okay, tables definitely turned big time now. Already started to turn on map number 2. By the time we got here, you're thinking T1W should definitely take the series out. It's their series to lose, and they did not lose.
And now the questions have to start being asked of Talon instead, who do find themselves taking the express route down to the losers bracket. Look, it had to be someone. So Talon now in that sudden death situation do have the extra day to prepare for that. That match doesn't come up till tomorrow, and later today they'll also get to see who their opponent will be. But T1W going to rightfully take their place in the middle of the stage for now. Just bask in it for a moment.
And it's a tough loss for Talon, right? Because as you say, going down to the lower bracket means one more tournament life available. If they lose again without taking a match, if they come 5th or 6th place in this tournament, they will be losing a seed for the Pacific region. They only have 1 seed, and for these 1 seed regions like the Pacific, like Australia, coming top 4 means so much.
And of course, speaking of Australia, that's one of the other teams that we'll be seeing in our next matchup today. So we've still got that same kind of thing to play for here. It's been Talon going down to the losers bracket, might be Order after it.
Yeah, and so you look at this matchup as well, I do still think for Talon Esports, they still get to walk away knowing that, to be fair, this was very winnable for them. I still think Oasis probably should have gone their way. There's a couple of screws they need to tighten there. It's the kind of matchup for them where it is interesting because it is kind of mirror in styles, in terms of compositions, in terms of how these teams want to approach each other, and they had the right idea. Multiple times you look at Talon, you're thinking they have the right kind of counters, they have the right kind of, style of ideas to say, how do we actually win this? It actually comes down to execution. That was probably the part for me where Talon was most lacking and where T1W was definitely far ahead.
And all those questions about T1W, some might have considered them the weakest team coming into this tournament. Look, there is definitely some merit to that argument, but after this result, you start to look at what that means. Does it mean that T1W are a bit stronger than what they've been across their season of Contenders just been? Have they skilled up coming into Showdown here? That's what this tournament's called. Oh, it's right there. Or does it mean that Talon underperformed a bit today? We still don't really know.
And I think what you can draw on is the past results and past experiences, because for a team like T1W, they went 0-4 versus LGE Huya in their own grand final for Contenders China. And that's a team where, okay, you got to walk away from that with a lot of lessons learned and a big wake-up call. You have a team like Talon who basically swept their entire grand finals, and they were able to come in feeling a lot more confident. This is now going to be their wake-up call going into tomorrow's matches, opening up in the lower bracket. And for T1W, coming into the tournament in general with the kind of, I would say the drive to say, okay, we didn't do too well in our region, and we need to kind of show that again. Whereas
Prove
teams
the
that kind of,
wrong.
the teams that kind of winning in, they might not have that.
Yeah, I think you're dead right there. We say Talon been running hot and cold. Well, this will be a bucket of cold water to the face. So, I don't know, maybe they'll get out of bed, go for a run, have a nice hot shower, and come back better than ever tomorrow. Yeah,
that's certainly going to be the case. And I think for for match one anyway, we do have our first team moving forward to face EM. We do have another match coming on pretty soon as well. And before we get there, though, we'll take a quick look at the interview.
好的，欢迎回到我们的赛后采访环节，我是 Nina。那站在我身边呢，就是 T1W 的莫兰兰，让她跟我们打个招呼吧。
So winner from T1W.
Hello， 大家好，我是 T1W 的莫兰兰。
欢迎你，感觉莫兰兰，哇，听一下现场的我们粉丝们的欢呼声，开心吗？现在？
开心
Happy right now?
开心。那其实，在我们比赛之前呢，我们看到镜头扫到你的时候，你的表情是特别的可爱、特别的放松。跟我们分享一下当时一个具体的心情，好不好？
我就想着，反正紧张也没有什么用，就干脆放松一点。
干脆就玩一下，是不是？
对。
那我想问一下，这一次你们队伍作为我们首支出战的战队。 现在又赢得了，并且是大比分赢得了对方，现在心情又是怎么样呢？
3-0, how do you feel about that?
现在开心。
I'm very happy right now.
是预料之中吗？
算是预料之中吧。
没关系，你可以大胆的讲出来。我觉得也是预料之中的。那其实，在我们比赛当中，国王大道的时候，最后加时赛的时候，你的那一波操作，法老之鹰那一波操作，可以说是奠定了当时比赛胜利的一个基础。给自己的操作打几分
？So how do you rate the performance in time back for your Farah?
刚好及格。你的意思是还可以更好，是不是？是的，我觉得我们在比赛当中有一个谦虚的心态也是特别好的。那还有一个问题就是。 我们今天现场来了非常多 T1W 的粉丝，有没有什么话跟他们说的？说一说你们队伍这一次的目标，好不好？
话的话，我爱你们
，I love you all。
你们爱不爱莫兰兰？爱不爱 T1W？
Do you love Milan Run? Do you love T1W?
听到他们的呼声了吗？
听到了。
好，那也希望你带着所有粉丝的鼓励，我们 T1W 再接再厉，好不好？
好。
好，那以上就是我们本轮环节的赛后采访，让我们稍事休息，马上回来。
All right, so that was the winners interview with Milan Run. Fire performance up there as well. He believes it was pretty decent. We'll see if it's decent enough to take on Element Mystic sometime down the line. But next up, we got Order, we got O2 Blast, and that's happening right after this break.